Maybe, okay, actually, you know what? You have a problem, you try to help yourself. If you have a problem, you try to help yourself. You can't do it, maybe you go to your parents. Parents can't help, maybe you go to your siblings, brothers and sisters. Maybe they can help me out. They can't help you out, maybe you go to your friends. Hey, you know, can you help me out with this? I'm having a certain problem. If they can't help you out, maybe you go to your government. Maybe the police will help me with this problem. Maybe a judge would help me with this problem. I have to get justice. I have to get some sort of a resolution for this problem. Right? So, maybe you go to them. If the government doesn't help you, maybe some sort of an aid organization will help you. This happens often. The government's ignoring you, so there's some protesters and they say, oh, we want to help them out. If there's nobody, even an organization to help you out, then at least maybe strangers on the street will help you out. Just give you some spare change. There's no organization, there's no government for you, there's no family, there's no friends, there's no nothing. At least people on the street will give you some change. Always, always, even if you're completely stranded, you have no ability, you can always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the believer does first, this is what the believer does last, this is what the believer does all the time. He asks Allah. But even the disbeliever, when nothing else is working and he's just, you know, everything's going wrong, even him, he'll turn to Allah at the last second. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there will be no helpers, what does that mean? What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes it. قَالَ اخْسَأُوا فِيهَا وَلَا تُكَلِّمُونِ وَلَا تُكَلِّمُونِ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remain despised in there. You stay in there, in hellfire. And don't talk to me. وَلَا تُكَلِّمُونِ Don't talk to me. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say this? In dunya, I gave you everything. In dunya, I gave you every blessing. In dunya, I was available. You could have spoken to me at any time. Right this second, you can speak with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you need a special phone? Do you need a certain plan? Do you need to wait on a waiting list? Do you need to be VIP? Do you need anything to communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Nothing. Do you need to speak a certain language? Do you need to say special words? Anybody can communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at any time. They go through their whole life never considering who put me here, why am I here, why was I given all these blessings. Not a second went by where they thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ignored Him the entire time. When this day comes, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me today. That's it. You had your chance. That's what it means when you have no helpers. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions over and over and over again. Now you really have no helpers. So you're entered into this hellfire. All this preparation, all this anticipation, all this fear finally comes true and you enter into it. And you have to watch yourself ignite on fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, protect yourself and your families from a fire whose fuel is men and stone. It's not that there's a fuel burning and that fuel is burning you. You are the fuel. You're watching yourself ignite. You have to witness this. You have to feel this pain as you are the fuel. فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ So fear the fire whose fuel is men and stone. You have to watch this damage take place on your body. You have to witness it. Have you ever been in a situation where maybe you broke a bone, or maybe you just got a bad cut and you just look away? Maybe the doctor is trying to stitch it up or patch it up and you look away. Because looking at it makes it nastier, right? Looking at it increases the pain. I mean, it just, you get more details when you look at it, and so you feel it even more. When you ignore it, you can kind of shut out the pain, shut out the idea, think of somewhere else. In hellfire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, سَأُصْلِهِ سَقَرْ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سَقَرْ لَا تُبْقِي وَلَا تَذَرْ لَوَّاحَةٌ لِلْبَشَرِ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will drive them into Saqar. And what can make you understand what this Saqar is? This hellfire was one of the names of hellfire, Saqar. It lets nothing remain, and it leaves nothing unburned. Nothing remains unburned. Blackening the skin. I want you to imagine that. Imagine this scenario. It leaves nothing unburned. When a person's thrown into a fire, he tries to roll around, he tries to protect himself in some ways. He tries to defend himself in some ways. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing this scenario where nothing will remain unburned, everything will become charcoaled and crisped and blackened. Imagine seeing every part of your body peeling off and burning. كَلَّا إِنَّهَا لَظَى نَزَّاعَةً لِلشَّوَى. No, indeed, it is the flame of hell, and it removes the exteriors. نَزَّاعَةً لِلشَّوَى. It is constantly removing the exterior, as in the exterior layer of skin, where all the nerves are hurting you and putting you in so much pain. Every time, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, every time their skins are roasted, through, we will replace them with other skins so that they may taste the punishment. Indeed, Allah is exalted in might and wise. This is the punishment that they get, this is the punishment that they deserve. More specifically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets, really, like I said, it gets nitty-gritty, it gets nasty. But this is the punishment that they deserve. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. Nas'alullah al-afiyah. We all know that the face is a very noble part of the human being. The face is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave protection to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't strike in the face. You shouldn't even hit an animal in the face. The face is the nobility of a human being. How many ayat of Quran mention specifically punishments being done to the face? And what does this tell you? It tells you that if a person can protect puts his hands first, put his body first, roll himself up first, and take the hit from any way, he will. But only when you can't, when everything else is being completely decimated, the face is the last. So look how much focus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts on the punishment for the face. Their garments are of liquid pitch, and their faces are covered by the fire. So one ayah talking about how their faces will be covered in the fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that if those who disbelieved but knew the time when they will not be able to avert the fire from their faces. They will not be able to block it. They will not be able to turn. There is no direction. There is no protection.
أَفَمَن يَتَّقِي بِوَجْهِهِ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَقِيلَ لِلظَّالِمِينَ ذُوقُوا مَا كُنتُمْ تَكْسِبُونَ. Then
is he who will shield and confront with his face the worst of the punishment on the day of resurrection, like the one who is secure from it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sarcastically asking. The one who protects the punishment with his face. Imagine that. You try to protect with anything on your body except the face, but you're going to take it face on, as they say. That's how the punishment is going to come, and you won't be able to protect any other way. يَوْمَ يُسْحَبُونَ فِي النَّارِ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ ذُوقُوا مَسَّ سَقَرَ. The day they will be dragged in the fire on their faces, it will be said to them, taste the touch of hell. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this verb a lot. Taste. Why taste? Because you can see something from far away. You can hear something from far away. You can even touch something that's pretty far away. You can smell something that's just generally in the air. These are the four senses, right? And the fifth one being tasting. Tasting is the most personal. It's right in your face. And we all know how much it hurts to have some sort of a pain on your face. People have always bit their tongue. People sometimes freak out when they bite their tongue. They lose it because it hurts so much. There's that shot of pain that goes shooting through your whole face when you just bite your tongue. When something hits your face. It's just this extreme pain, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing that they will taste this punishment. It'll be right in their face. When you can taste something, you can taste it. You can also feel it, obviously. You can also smell it because it also goes to the nose. So it encompasses many of these same ideas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they will be flung on their faces. Imagine this. They'll be thrown and they'll land directly. They'll be flung on their faces in the hellfire. And one thing about the face that I thought was the most scary and maybe the most relevant to our time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تَلْفَحُ وُجُوهَهُمُ النَّارُ وَهُمْ فِيهَا كَالِحُونَ. The fire will burn their faces, and therein they will grin with displaced lips, and they'll be disfigured. For all the young guys in the room, what does that remind you of? Maybe some of you will, I don't know, maybe it's just my head, it works like this, but there was a movie recently where somebody was trying to torture someone else. And so he grabbed the person's face and said, "Why so serious?" The person was crying, the person was in fear, and he said, "Why so serious? Let's put a smile on that face." and they carved a smile in the person's face. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, the fire will burn their faces, and therein they will grin with displaced and disfigured lips. They'll have a smile.